Yo, so it has been like, I don't know, like forever since I recorded, but like life kind of hit. Nothing like tragic happened. It's just like I lost the urge to record. So like, hello, strangers. It's been a while. So honestly, this isn't really like much of like a planned video. It's more like I had an idea, or I conceived an idea most ingenious, and now you guys have to see it. So it's not a creative concept whatsoever. I don't know if you thought block and creativity went together. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. That's a lie. That's just slander. I'm sorry, but I was just gonna read like Reddit stories or something as I did this because like, realistically, it's the most entertaining thing I can do. Um, I would say it's the closest thing to jingling keys for like YouTube, but that's arguably not true. You could say it's like something like Minecraft parkour or something. So, yes, I haven't planned this out at all. Basically, I'm literally just gonna look it up right now. Also, I'm probably gonna lose at every game I play because I'm not very focused for the most part. I would have to get extremely mad for me to get focused all of a sudden. All right, hold on. Okay, first one. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she doesn't have the right to mourn or go to her ex-friend's funeral after what she did? For those watching at home, this is literally the first thing I saw. Like I didn't like comb through to pick up like the most bombastic thing I could. This is quite literally the first thing I came across. New account says my daughter does know my other account. Ooh, things. When my daughter was in school, she became friends with a girl named Kelly. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Kelly's bridesmaids when she got married. To explain where my daughter's behavior came from, my ex husband cheated on me repeatedly, and our marriage ended horribly. My daughter doesn't speak to her father anymore, and she absolutely despises cheating. About 7 years ago, my daughter became convinced that Kelly was cheating on her husband. She started harassing Kelly online and essentially blew up her life. By the time my daughter found out that the man she had seen Kelly with was actually a relative, they were at a fancy restaurant together. It was too late. Kelly's marriage had already fallen apart, and because we live in a very religious community, she was ostracized by many people. Um, okay, so I can kind of see why the post sounded like the way it had like the tone it did now. Oh God, I forgot how much I hate Black Site. Mm-mm. The show must go on. Am I right or am I right? They had a huge falling out, and it basically came down to my daughter ruining Kelly's life. Kelly blocked her on everything and eventually moved away. Kelly hated my daughter after that, and so did her mother. I still run into Kelly's mother occasionally, and she has made her feelings about my daughter very clear, which I also cannot blame her for. Oh, God. The issue is that Kelly recently passed away. Rest in peace, that's very unfortunate. Obviously, I think that goes without saying. My daughter found out through a Facebook post, and the funeral is this weekend, 2 states away. My daughter was planning to attend the funeral, and I told her that I thought it was a terrible idea. She said that she needed to go, and I told her again that she shouldn't. We got into an argument, and she said that she had every right to mourn her friend and attend the funeral. Hold on, hold on. If it's not evident enough, I'm not that good at multitasking. This fight's already over anyway, whatever. I told her that she didn't have the right to mourn Kelly or go to the funeral because Kelly hated her after everything that happened and because my daughter had destroyed her life. She hasn't spoken to me since. Now I'm wondering if I should warn Kelly's family that my daughter might show up at the funeral or that I might be in the wrong here. Not the asshole, but your entire community isn't your daughter too. To be honest, I'm not surprised. People do not like cheaters. Even if we didn't live in a religious area, I have a feeling she would still have lost a lot of friends. Also, didn't help, she didn't have the best reputation to begin with. My daughter had a much better reputation in the community. This is an explanation on why the rumor spread so much and why people believe my daughter over Kelly. Gossip is a real shitty thing. The religious people did not help, though. Um, I'm gonna sound like the most stereotypical YouTuber possible, but thoughts, it's kind of the reason you guys are here. I'd argue. I am genuinely curious. It's totally not to see people comment under my videos to boost my ego. I would literally never do that. What type of What type of loser would do that, right? Okay. I think this one's been read. No, this looks. It says it's only a day old. Am I the asshole for deliberately giving my chronically late friend the wrong time? This feels very familiar. This is over. I mean, it isn't actually. Hold on. Yo, your stupid Reddit story's gonna have to wait. I might make a generational comeback as we speak. Hold on. I'm gonna mill myself a little bit, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, I'm milling myself just a little bit, but that's fine. Okay. I'm like literally back in the game, like chat. Like you can't even get mad at me for stopping your Reddit stories. Like I promise they can wait, bro. Trust. Uh, I'll just discard this. Now my turn. Okay. I 20F have a friend who is chronically late. I'm not talking 5 or 10 minutes either. If we agree to meet at 6, she'll usually show up at around 6:45 or 7. We've talked about it so many times, and every time she apologizes and says she'll do better. I think this rings a few bells for a few people, but whatever. It's caused problems before. She was almost an hour late to another friend's birthday dinner, and we lost our reservation. She was also late to her friend's going away party, and we missed most of it because everyone had already started saying their goodbyes. Once she was supposed to pick me up for a doctor's appointment and showed up 15 minutes late, so I had to take an Uber and still ended up missing the appointment. I had to pay a cancellation fee to reschedule it, and I can name at least 20 such instances from the top of my head. And this is so over. Can try something. Again, your Reddit story can wait, bro. I promise. Okay, peek. I'm gonna hit him with the little one of these. Like maybe I'm like too critical on myself, but I would say I'm not that bad at blessings, all things considered. Even though I am trampling over my own blessings, it's like fine. 2, 3. Whooshadings. Okay. The thing that really gets me is that if someone else is late, even by 10 to 15 minutes, she will sometimes make a huge deal about it. It happened maybe twice, so I don't want to exaggerate it, but it definitely feels hypocritical given how often she's late herself. At this point, our friend group has basically learned to expect it from her, unfortunately. Last week, a few of us were going out for dinner. We had a reservation at 6:30, so I told everyone to be there by 6:15. She said she'd leave her house at 6. At 6:20, she was texting us saying that she was leaving now. I was honestly fed up, so I DM'd her that the reservation was postponed at 7 instead. Everyone else knew what I'd done. We got there at 6:15, had dinner, and when she finally showed up at 7:35, she was obviously pissed that we'd already eaten. I asked her why. She asked why I lied to her, and I told her that when I give her the actual time, she doesn't show up until an hour later anyway. She said that that was completely different, and that I deliberately set up set it up to be late. She also said that she trusted me to give her the correct time, and that I had no right to teach her a lesson. It might be Raps gang. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. It genuinely might just be Raps, and for my computer too. I told her I was tired of constantly waiting for her and having everyone else's plans revolve around her lateness. She called me manipulative and said that she doesn't want to make plans with me anymore. Kinda seems like a blessing to me. I get it, blessings? But hey, what do I know, right? I don't like late people. I don't think that's like a hot take or anything. If you're chronically late, it's really annoying. I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say, but whatever. Edit. A lot of people are asking why I don't just give her an earlier time. We already tried that. We told her, we tell her to get things, we tell her things started 30 minutes earlier, and she'd eventually figured it out and started treating that as the fate time too. At this point, the entire friend group is just exhausted. We've all waited for her. missed reservations because of her, rearranged plans around her, and heard the same "I'm sorry, it'll never happen again" speech dozens of times. I think everyone was pretty much at the point where nobody wanted to keep accommodating it anymore. I know lying to her wasn't exactly mature and kind of petty on my part, but honestly, I was frustrated and wanted her to understand how ridiculous it feels when someone constantly treats your time like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to put jargon in your mind and let you come to your own conclusion. I think we all have the same conclusion anyway, so just read to the next one. Oh, yeah, no. This one's definitely getting read. Hold on. Also, yeah, this is like total raps. Alright. Am I. It's already labeled. Am I the asshole for leaving during my wife's labor? Yes, obviously, but right? Yeah, I'm just gonna cue back in and just let things happen. My wife went into labor around 6 p.m. on Sunday. We were expecting twins. It quickly turns into a very painful process. She kept cutting off the blood pressure to my hand when she squeezed and nearly sprayed my shirt with vomit. Around 3 a.m., my dad calls. I work for my dad's company, and we had a presentation for clients Monday morning that I had to get ready for. My dad heard my wife in labor, but told me he needed me on this presentation. He said there was nothing I could do to help my wife, and seeing the baby come out was overrated, and people don't prepare you for the gore. Just let that sit for a second. He said he needed me to rest up and make myself presentable for the presentation. My wife's labor was progressing very slowly, and we were all certain that she would need forceps or other assistance to deliver the babies. I realized that I couldn't help her here, and my dad was counting on me, so I told her I needed to leave. She started screaming at me so loudly that a few nurses rushed over to our room. I ended up doing the presentation with the clients, and things went well. I leave the office and see a text on my phone that says my wife delivered an hour ago at around 10:30 a.m., and they had to use forceps. I would have missed the meeting had I stayed, and my dad has given me everything he could have possibly given in life, so I didn't want to let him down. Am I the asshole? I had responsibilities and I had to take care of, and my wife is still screaming at me saying that she was alone when they destroyed her body. I'm the only one who works, and her mom herself said that she was emotional and overreacting. My wife even went as far as to say that her family would disown her if she was the first of them to divorce, but she doesn't consider me a husband right now. I think we're speaking for everyone here. YDA, I realize I couldn't help her here. Yeah, you could. You could provide a comforting, supportive presence while she's extremely scared and in pain. Instead, you abandoned her, which made everything even more stressful. And seeing the baby come out was overrated. It's not. There's a reason why people usually list the birth of their children as the most memorable moments in their lives, and you missed it. Are you freaking kidding me? It was a painful experience. She squeezed your hand too hard. Wow, almost like you experienced labor yourself. I don't know how someone can have an ego like this. Like, maybe that's just me. I know it's not just me. I'm just saying that to be like generalist and stuff, but I know that's not just me, right? You left your wife scared and alone. Would you want her to leave you alone when you were going in for surgery? You started your children's lives by putting them on the back burner. Which, like, not one person just said, that's not something you're, like, ever gonna get back. Ever gonna get back. Ever gonna get back. Like, again, that's never something you're gonna experience again. And it's just gone because of a work meeting. Like, this feels like it was almost written. Like, this is like this feels like a 90s movie where like it's except worse, obviously. I'm not downplaying this. Like a kid like it's like in a sport and their dad never shows up so they feel really sad. Also, holy shit, it's RB White lads. Again, it's just everybody ragging on this dude. My dad has given me everything he could have possibly given me in life. Had the same thought, like smallest violin, buddy. Also, did he birth you or something? Like, yeah, like this whole thing generally makes no sense. Uh, I'll cross the bridge when I get there. God, you may be the biggest asshole of the week. Your wife, the woman you vowed to stand by for the rest of your life, was having what could likely be the most traumatic experience of her life. And instead of supporting her, you left her because you figured helping your dad was more important. The second you get married, your nuclear family becomes your wife and any children you have. They should become your first priority, and you've managed to abandon them all at a time when your wife needed you. and miss the birth of your children. You'd be lucky if you even ever get to see those kids. You really need a reality check. It's unfortunate your wife doesn't want to divorce you. Hopefully she changes her mind. Also, edit things for the rewards. You know, the stereotypical, like, Reddit thing to say. Which, I don't think anything said was crazy. I would jokingly say hot take, but literally the coldest take in my life, bro. I've seen a colder take in a freezer, bro. Like, that's bad. Personally, I don't know about you guys. I think that's really bad. Alright, this will be the last one before I, like, cut it, and then, like, when I say cut it, this is all, like, unedited footage because I still don't know how to edit. So I'll just continue reading and then just, like, have that as a separate video. Also, I'm getting my shins kicked in, so that's nice. I can't lose to RBY Glads. I'm sorry, my ego's is a little bit too big for that. I'm actually just gonna keep reading. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that my doctor knows more than him and refusing to forgive him? There's an update too, which I'll probably read, I guess. Hello, everyone. Uh-huh. Hello, everyone. My husband and I have been married for 4 years and together for 6, and this is the very first huge argument we've ever had. I, female 24, am currently 33 weeks pregnant with his, male 31, baby. That's what, an 8-year age gap? That's a point of contention, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm genuinely not going to say anything about it. There's not even any underlying thought in my voice. When I was 20 weeks pregnant, my doctor diagnosed me with placenta previa, which, if you don't know, is basically when the placenta for my baby is covering the opening in my cervix. They told me that it would most likely move as my baby grew, but it never did. So I'm scheduled for a C-section in just 3 weeks. At 20 weeks, I was put on very light restrictions, but at 30, I got put on heavier restrictions. No running, no lifting or climbing, no standing for longer than 3 hours at a time, and most importantly, no intercourse and no vaginal exams. Because my doctor told me that we want absolutely nothing to potentially make me bleed, which could lead to a preterm birth. Also, I was not paying attention. I didn't think I'd go first. Greed, right? So I'm scheduled for a C-section in just 3 weeks. So I've been doing this all for 3 weeks, but it has been driving my husband freaking insane. Every single day he bothers me for, intercourse. Every single day, which I tell him I can't, and remind him of the restrictions. I feel like I've read this before. I don't know how often you, like, the blox sides of YouTube is on, like, Reddit, or, like, listen to, like, Reddit stories, but I don't even want to have it anyway. My tummy's so big and I'm always exhausted. But he doesn't like those answers. Again, this feels so... Well, I guess stuff like this is timeless, right? This doesn't really go away. Finally, he came to me and started going on about how doctors sometimes dramatize things for the sake of their careers and for their money. Nice one, bro. Sure. Where am I? He said that they push for C-sections. I was like, okay, whatever, but I know I have this condition, like, for a fact. Where am I? Obviously, I'm gonna follow the rules. He didn't take the answer, and we ended up doing it. That's unfortunate. For a few hours after, I was having really, really heavy bleeding, and I got very scared. I was crying in the bathroom, trying to figure out what to do. I ended up calling my doctor, and she told me to come in right away. The whole car right there, I was just sobbing, imagining that in an hour I would be having a C-section for an only 33-week baby. I thought you couldn't cast this unless you... It's over. Oh, wait. I promise I'm taking this seriously, but I had to think. Never mind, it's over. Okay. We quickly figured out that I am not in preterm labor. I was just bleeding, and as long as it stops, it will be okay. It did, and I am fine. But while I was there, my doctor asked my husband to leave, and started asking me questions. She asked if I did anything I wasn't supposed to do. She was like, "This isn't accusatory. It's okay. It's just better to know if it was caused by something random." I told her that I had intercourse. She just went over all the things again and gave me a bunch of information on domestic violence. Which, again, I think that's just good doctor behavior to do, right? She put them in my purse for me, literally. I was so embarrassed. When we got into the car, I broke down and yelled at my husband, telling him to never do that to me again and telling him that my doctor knows more than him and knows what is best for me and the baby. He apologized, and I could tell he really meant it. I've been holding on to a grudge for days, and he's been groveling for days. He asked me how long I was gonna make him apologize. I told him that until at least the baby was born. Am I the asshole for that? Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but no. And this is a top comment from what I can see. OBGYN here. What a fucking idiot. Freaking idiot your husband is. C-section for placenta previa is an absolute necessity. 750 milliliters of blood per minute goes to the uterus at term. 90% of that goes to the placenta. Literally all of your blood could be outside of your body in a matter of minutes if you don't deliver surgically. We all want to do C-sections all the time for no reason. Bullshit. It has to go because it gives lay people sorry, the impression that they should disagree using their 0 hours of scientific training with absolute medical necessity. All this is awful and I'm sorry you're going through this. Obligatory, I'm also sorry. Like, I think that's just generally like basic human empathy. Okay, this is gonna be the last one. Just like one more. Oh, sure, this one looks nice. Again, I promise I'm not like trivializing these people's events, or at least I'm not trying to. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she is an idiot if she thought her actions at her wedding wouldn't have consequences? Oh, let me just do a little something real quick. Again, I'm horrible at multitasking, so you're just gonna have to be patient with this. On my phone. They were dubbed not the asshole, by the way. Quick backstory. My bio dad died when I was young. Oh, yeah. When I was young, and my mom remarried when my sister was 8 and I was 10. We are now in our late 20s. Stepdad focused a lot of his time on providing for us, so I never got close to him, but I am grateful for him. I am engaged and my sister is going to marry in about a month. My wedding will be in a year. Both of us are close to our mom, though. My sister, who I will call Noelle, fucked up in my opinion. Freaked up in my opinion. At first, I was on her side, but now I just feel bad for stepdad. Noelle isn't going to have him walk her down and give her away. I understand this is her decision, and when that came out, I helped my mom and stepdad understand that it was her choice. Oh God, what happened? I obviously wasn't paying attention. The turning point happened last week when she told us that he will not be sitting at the family table. When asked her why, she made it clear that he wasn't family to her. Again, her right, but damn, he is the reason we had such a good childhood and are debt free. He paid for college and work done. God, that's okay. I knew this would result in them not going to the wedding, and they informed my sister. She called me upset and was ranting about how it was her wedding, that she was being abandoned. I had enough and told her that she was an idiot if she didn't think that her actions would have consequences. She called me a jerk and hung up. I'm unsure if I was a jerk, and I feel guilty since I am now closer to my parents, as I promised he could walk me down at my wedding. Oh, God. Well, top comment kind of said what a few people were thinking. I think you know you're not the asshole, but I'm confused by this. Honestly, did your sister ever express that she didn't consider her stepdad family before? This seems like it was out of nowhere, kind of. I think the reason why I can't multitask is because I try to read so fast. Anyway, not really. She always idolized out. She always idolized our dead dad and was upset when she hit a milestone and he couldn't be there. I think this came full force on this issue that she decided to reject stepdad completely. We both didn't have close relationships, but that was due to him working like 60 hours a week to provide. Which, might I add, again, like overall, that's just pretty messed up. Like, again, you're entitled to feel however you want to about your step parents, yes. But like someone working like to the bone for you and you treat them like a stranger, that's just, I don't know. That's not a hot take. That's just generally a mean thing to do. Sue me. I'm just gonna keep reading until this match is over. Sorry. Oh yeah, I already know what this is gonna be tagged as. Yep, I saw the red tag up top. Am I the asshole for getting a paternity test on my son who doesn't look like me? I think I might have seen this or heard this before. I posted this in r/relationship advice, but it was removed because apparently it belongs here. Yeah, it sure does. I'm 29. I'm a 29-year-old white guy, as expected. My wife is 30 and black. We have two kids, a 3-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. My wife got pregnant with our son early on in our relationship. We had only been together a year. We got married because she got pregnant. Fortunately for us, we are actually happy. Any day no game. I kind of just want to do this now so I can like read easier. Also, this isn't going as well as I'd like. But we have, you can't kill him one turn. Alright. When my son was born, I accepted him as mine. However, I couldn't help noticing how little he looked like me. He is noticeably darker than my wife. Here we go. He doesn't look half white. My family and friends have asked him if I'm sure he's mine. Of course they did. I had doubts, but I initially trusted my wife. I love my son regardless. When our son was 2, my wife had our daughter. I had no doubt she's mine. She looks just like me. She even has my blue eyes. I never realized how powerful it is to know a child is yours. I'm trying so hard not to say anything that could be remotely racial. I bonded with her easier because there wasn't the question of paternity dangling over our heads. My family bonded with her faster too. Her resemblance to me convinced me that my son is not mine. Of course. Oh, shittings. I don't know what to do. Wow, I did not notice I was there. We are done. I mean, I could, like... Do I have World Purge in here? I do not have World Purge in here. Okay, we're just gonna have to live. I always try to treat them equally, as I see them both as my children, but I realized I was beginning to resent my son. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. Mm-hmm. I also began to resent my wife because I felt like she had betrayed me. I finally got a paternity test in secret. I was relieved to learn that my son was in fact mine. Genetics are weird. Of course they are, do you? Anyways, that was 4 months ago. My relationship with my wife and son has dramatically improved. Wow. I feel much closer to him now that I know he's actually mine. My wife and I have been so happy that we were talking about a third child. I confessed to my wife that I got a paternity test. I hated keeping the secret, and I thought that she would understand given how much he doesn't look like me. She flipped out, rightfully so. She asked me if I ever doubted our daughter, and when I said no, she called me racist. It's not true. I didn't prefer my daughter because of her whiter features. I just knew she was mine. She also said that I made our son feel unloved for no reason for all those years. And I said that's bull. Even when I didn't believe my son was mine, I treated him as though he were. Hold on. That honestly was not a good decision on my part. Also, this is cheese. This is that's the objective. It's cheese. Okay. I'm hungry now. My wife says she wants to move out and take our children after the quarantine. So this is 6 years ago. Yeah, you know what? Makes sense. It's been about a week and I'm. It's been about a week and a half and I'm still on the sofa. Shocker. I hope she would have calmed down by now, but things haven't changed. She's just so furious with me for not even trusting her. For not trusting her and for in her eyes denying my son because he's dark. She barely talks to me unless it's about the kids. I don't want to lose my family. But here's where I turn to you, Reddit. I said so awful that I had doubts. I still took care of him. I don't understand why something like this is wrecking my marriage. I think she's overreacting, so am I the asshole? Ah, you're the asshole. She is absolutely not overreacting. You not only did not trust your wife, but you let your ignorance get in the way of bonding with your child. I mean, what did you think was going to happen when you had biracial children? It's not always a perfect mocha mixture of both parents. You may get that. You may get a kid who is white as a vampire or as dark as Wesley Snipes. You really need to suck it up and beg for forgiveness. Oh, God. Sorry, notifications. And then you need to fix that ignorant way of thinking you have. Your son is going to need you. Being a black man in this world is not easy. Um, Not me trying to be like an attention or anything, but fun fact for, because you guys I don't think knows this, I am black, or I'm mixed. I'm very brown, and I have undeniably black hair. Yes, being a black man is not easy, especially depending on where you are. He even says his family didn't bond with him as much as his lighter daughter. Sounds like being racist lies in the family too. Poor kid deserves better. Those poor kids and that poor wife. What a nightmare to trust someone and marry them and then have kids with them and find out they're a racist. And that their family didn't bond with a darker kid? Skin crawling. I don't know what the wife will end up deciding, but hopefully, if she chooses to stay with OP, who is massively the asshole, he's gonna have to move worlds to prove himself to be a decent human. And he'll have to prove. And you have to do more than that if his son grows up to find out about all of this. Which, yeah, checks out. Also, I thought we nerfed Love Contract. Oh, we did. I forgot. It just made it a little bit more expensive. I'm probably dead here. Because what I was gonna do, or not dead, but I'm probably close to death. Because I was gonna use like Fuchsia. Actually, no, I was gonna Grieving World, but that's not happening, right? Okay, any day now. Again, I'm not good at multitasking whatsoever. That's not worth it. Okay. There we go. Let's see what that does. It's probably still over, but whatever. I mean, the guy backtracks so hard in his own post that it's honestly absurd. When my son was born, I accepted him as mine. However, I couldn't notice how, how little he looked like me. He was a little bit darker than my wife. That part. One paragraph later, I realized I was beginning to resent my son. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. I also began to resent my wife because I felt she had betrayed me. I accepted my son as mine and trusted my wife when he was born, even though he didn't look like me. Then I had a white passing daughter and realized I resented my son for being someone else's and my wife for betraying me. Since he was not white passing, therefore obviously could not be mine. I do not have the breath for reading this. By the way, I'm lying down, so I physically do not have the breath to read that much. Also, no, I'm definitively dead. I'm pretty sure. What's that for? Huh? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yikes. Okay, last one. Like genuinely the last one. Again, this is gonna be uncut because I've number one, I have no reason to cut it realistically, but also I have a crippling fear of actually locking in and learning how to edit. I guess. You again, my reaction's warranted. I promise. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to see his girlfriend? Unskippable thumbnail, am I right? I read it's absolutely wild post here myself, and this is a long one because it summarizes the last 20 years of our relationship. But I need to know. Anonymous, mistakes can be found and corrected. Not my first language. My husband, male 40, and I, female 40, whoops, have been together for 20 years, married for 10, our son is 6. 10 years ago, I got sick with depression, lost my second study at university. Sorry to hear that, because this is less than a year ago. Couldn't work, and I put myself into a clinic to help me handle the mental meatloaf. Since then, I take meds in varying doses, waited 8 years for therapy, got pregnant and lost a child early, got pregnant again and carried full term. All this time, my husband was the most caring, sweetest, and most reliable person on earth. We lived far from family, so it was only the two of us. He finished his bachelor, found a job, and kept us afloat. Made it possible for me to focus on healing and recovering without work. But my mental health did not improve. After the university, I lost my job, a lot of friends, and with the kiddo, it's just too much for me. I hit my limits, and every day I end up crying, distraught and overly sensible. What capacity I have in me is consumed by shame, guilt, and sadness. I miss out on so much. What could be treasured memory is just the feeling of inadequacy and failure. To my husband, my son, my life. For the last 10 years, he's done everything from waking up in the morning to get the kiddo ready, working, cooking, and caring. Oh, this is a long post. Okay. The past 2 years, we have lied in an in a marriage. Sorry, I was like in like reading mode, so like seeing like a word that like wasn't like a word, it kind of like caught me off guard. He has a girlfriend, I have a boyfriend. We all meet at one point, and even though our friends aren't exactly friends with our spouses, we are all on good civil terms. Jealousy has never been a thing. Again, I'm trying to multitask. We don't lie, we don't withhold. Our phone passwords are the same. Our trust is undemanded and undoubted. Time management has been challenging, but everything worked out in the end. We had to change the rules of our relationship a few times, but always found the baseline we could both agree on. Right now, it is we are the family. We have priority. We are the center of our lives and the focus of our care and love. We take care of our relationships ourselves and don't burden each other with resulting obligations, i.e., we are not each other's babysitters or break a leg to accommodate for respective dates. Sorry, I just saw what I'm fighting. Of course, we are not the couple we were 20 years ago. We lost hobbies, interests, friends, activities, and romance on the way. Aside from the kiddo, we live as roommates, basically with random displays of affection and words of endearment shouted through the house. Never had it worded that way before. Where am I? Our last day was in November of last year. Our last adult time years away. We do love each other, it's just simply too much to handle, and our marriage was the most neglectable. But the last decade has taken a toll on my husband. It's he developed a depression and anxiety himself, got into therapy, and is medicated as well. His depression led our finances to completely crush. 50K deep crush. In addition, this year has not been good to us. Our landlord broke our lease, allegedly because we didn't pay. Not true, but we did lower the rent due to a shut front door of 4 years. What will be dealt with in court, but we have to move. His job is 70 minutes away, and the commute is killing over 2 hours every day. Most days more. Moving closer is not an option because the city is extremely expensive. Moving away, moving away from here would cost me my entire social network, doctors, therapist, the school for our children with special needs for our son, etc. Oh God, what am I doing? The car broke down and the windshield has a crack. My grandma died on my 40th birthday, which was when like the same year this post was made. I'm pretty sure because the post said the poster was 40. The kitchen sink tap broke and watered the room. Every day is a new fire we have to deal with. Last week was especially draining. Kiddo was sick and couldn't attend kindergarten for 2 days. I was exhausted due to insomnia. Approximately 20 hours a week of sleep, I'm assuming. For the weekend, we had a plan to watch a series on Netflix, order Christmas gifts, try to enjoy the time with the kiddo, and recharge for the coming week as good as possible. But then he asked me if I was okay with him seeing his girlfriend Sunday afternoon, overnight, and being back Monday morning for the morning routine. We did that a couple of times and it was fine, but this week I didn't feel good about it. I think we need this time together. We have a life to get back, a child to care for, and a marriage that needs attention like a Karen at the counter. That's what the post says, by the way. I didn't write that. So I told him that I wasn't fine. I don't want him to go. Next week, next weekend, but not for this one. Where did I get all these? Oh, dumb question. Not after this horrendous week. They had their annual weekend getaway last weekend. They met up once a week, except this week because there just wasn't time to, and I didn't want this time to be taken away from family. But he insisted, and I told him that he is breaking the promise, the baseline that we agreed upon. We, the family, has the priority, and he cheats. If he goes. Sorry. Oh, that was a sell, but whatever. I can bear that my reduced existence led to him not being attracted to me anymore, that he didn't give me anything for my birthday, not even a flower or a card. I can live with us being in survival mode and clenching our teeth through all the hardship, because we did it together. But now that he wants to go in a moment that I think is crucial for our family and he refuses, says that he deserves his break and is willing to take the consequences of his decision. Whatever they may be, I'm just hurt and feel left. Although it's just a half day. I contacted his girlfriend to let her know because I don't think he will tell her. But this meetup leads to our separation, then she deserves to know, as she is married with children as well. I just don't know what to think and what to feel, especially since I had this associative episode 3 weeks ago for the first time in my life. What if this what if this feeling of broken promises will just vanish overnight? What if it doesn't? He has been standing by me for 10 years, and I too sought companionship outside of our marriage, but broke it off. When he demanded it, am I asking for too much? Should I just believe and let him have his time? Mm. Again, severe moment, I just cannot multitask. Sorry if that's getting annoying to like repeatedly preface. I just don't want to make it look like I'm downplaying the situations of other people's lives. It's just yellow pickings anyway, I'll be alright. I think the post had an update at the top. No, it did not. Okay. And these are just the comments here. He carried you. This is the top comment. He carried you for 20 years. You can't give him an extra night after a hard week. Because your marriage needs time, even though you acknowledge that you're roommates with a child. I think you're being selfish. He's asking you for this because it's necessary. Just like all those times when you asked him to cover for you because you couldn't work, cook, clean, or function. Why have to give and take? Why is he always giving and you always taking? You're the asshole. This may go against your rules, but your whole relationship is rewriting the rules. Do it again. Comments, words, not mine. Next comment, I rarely see these kind of situations work out to the satisfaction of everyone. They work just fine when people are older, more mature, and are already in a healthy and loving relationship. I think that too many people think that they are hip and cool and rush into them. And this is just my 2 cents, but like I think it feels like a similar nature of like a couple having a child to fix a broken relationship. Not saying that that's like analogous whatsoever, but like if you know what I mean, right? Like it feels like this was done to fix something that was broken because they didn't know how to. And that might be a hot take, but that's genuinely how I see this. I'm not gonna keep reading into it. Ooh. R/teenagers. Okay, sure, why not? Am I the asshole for telling my friend that she's a pick me? Well, did he even censor her name? I feel like that's kind of dangerous to do, but or not to do, but whatever. Okay, so this is from the friend. I'm starting with the friend, and then okay, this is so stupid. You always act out, pick me, brat. This is from the poster. Girl, you're the only pick me. Plus, brat isn't gonna hurt my feelings. I've heard worse. She responds, bitch. Poster responds, some stuff that were worse are being your friend and actually, I'm honestly not even gonna read this. This isn't just for me. I'm not even gonna lie. This just seems so nah. Mm, oh sure. It's worth it. Okay. Am I the asshole for giving my mother-in-law a fake copy of my house key and exposing her on Christmas dinner? This post is tagged not the asshole, by the way. I want to preface this by saying that I am a 34-year-old woman, married my husband, 37 male, a year ago. My mom is snoopy and annoying as fuck. Poster's words, not mine. She can't help. She can't help it, and that's just how she is, as my dear-in-law. Yeah, as my dear-in-law say. My husband and I purchased a new house recently. My mother-in-law kept pushing to get an emergency key. She promised that she would only use it in an emergency, but given the fact that she had an emergency key to our old apartment and walked in on us being intimate twice, but my husband didn't think it was a big deal. Ew, but okay. I just couldn't trust her, so I sent her a fake key after she kept pushing, And she had a smug face after I hand delivered it to her, because of course she did. Post she didn't add that last part. I added that last part. I feel like it was necessary. Days gone by, and on Christmas dinner, my mother-in-law angrily called me out on the fact that I gave her a fake copy of the house key. She shamed me for doing this in front of everyone, but in my defense, I asked her how she found out, and she said days ago when she came over at 4 while my husband and I were out. I remembered her, didn't you promise you wouldn't use it unless there was an emergency rule? So you tried to get in when there was no emergency, and you broke the promise you made to us. She looked right in the face, shocker, and the other family started staring, and some even laughed at her for the face she made. She suddenly got up from her seat, rushed to the kitchen, where she had a huge meltdown so loud that the next door neighbors must have heard. Literally, I've never seen a 60-plus-year-old woman throw a tantrum like that. Needless to say, the dinner went awkward, and my husband and his sister were giving me looks. My husband went off on me in the car and said that I lied and manipulated and humiliated and exposed, God, so many ants, his mom, and said he wouldn't have let me get away with it had he had known. We had an argument, and he is demanding I apologize to his mom for my childish behavior and ruining Christmas dinner for the whole family. Am I the asshole? ETA, so off. This went off unexpectedly, and I thought I'd show my husband some pretty helpful comments. I found here minutes ago, but he got mad at me when he saw it and said I was nuts to talk about his family online. He demanded my phone so we could delete it, but I refused. Oh God. Okay. Sorry. He refused, and I went upstairs into the bedroom. I never seemed so agitated, and I didn't think he'd react like that. Honestly, thank you so much for the support. It means so much. I'll update if I can. Thanks again. I don't know, bro. I don't think you can really demand your wife's phone. Maybe that's just me. I hope that's not just me, but that's even if you paid for it. That's just like a really weird breach of privacy, in thy humble opinion. I'm not even gonna read the comments for this one. Um. All right, this one's like really recent and labeled not the asshole. Am, am I the asshole for making a kid cry for not swimming well during a swim test? Oh, never mind. And that's wraps.